All right, welcome everybody. It is July 19th, 2022, and this is the bi-weekly Cloud Custodian community meeting. Welcome everyone. I'll be your host today, George Castro. We have some people who send their regrets that are on holiday, so we're gonna just keep on going through the agenda, and if there's anything that we need to discuss, we'll just tack it onto the agenda for the next few weeks. I've pasted the notes URL there in chat, and if you're watching along on YouTube, if you go to GitHub, in the discussion sections, you should find these notes, and I always send a copy of these notes to the mailing list. As always, we're under the CNCF Code of Conduct, so please be excellent to each other, and do be aware that we do record these meetings and post the videos on YouTube, so please be cognizant of that. Our agenda is open, so usually what I do is I pick some cool things that people want to announce, and then I grab some PRs, issues, or things that have been reported over the past few weeks, and then we use those as discussion items. But the agenda is open to anybody who wants to talk about anything. So if we get through some stuff and you want us to look at something, or maybe you're having a problem with a specific policy or something, consider this an open agenda. A few things that I have, though, is Darren Dow is now a co-maintainer, so he was merged here over the weekend. He is not attending today, it looks like, so we'll go ahead and save the congratulations for him when he returns. Speaking about governance, semi-related, I've gone ahead and updated the draft for what Cloud Custodian governance looks like. So this is how we pick maintainers and the kind of life cycle of contributors and whatnot to the project. This is issue 7149. And what I've done here is basically drafted a proposal of what the governance for the project should look like. And then we're leaving this open for a while to get feedback from the community. And then at some point we'll do a PR once we have a semblance of consensus from existing maintainers. So some changes that I've done since last time. I don't want to line by line this through a meeting. That's probably a separate topic. But some changes here is after our review last time, we needed an emeritus process. So I went ahead and added that. And I added a separate lead maintainer role and a description for that. That's in there as well. And Kapil had asked that I looked at the Envoy project governance, and they have an idea on how to get consensus on things via simple majority voting. So I went ahead and adapted that for our needs, and I tossed it in there. So if you want to take a look at what that looks like, that is issue 7149, and I've left a link in the notes. Does anybody have any questions for that? Darren, we just finished congratulating you on your co-maintainership status. I've got a cake. We'll have a cake at some point, but thanks for joining. We're just going through the announcements here, and then we'll get to the usual stuff. Next week, I will be on a plane on Wednesday and headed to Scale. That's the Southern California Linux Expo at LAX. And I'm doing a workshop there all afternoon with Sunny on Cloud Custodian. So if you have anybody in the area or anything like that that might be interested in hanging out, feel free to send them. The show is free to attend, and the workshop is free to attend as well. So if you're in the area and you just want to figure out how Cloud Custodian works and hang out with me and Sunny, that's always a good time. And I know there's always a lot of cloud professionals that attend the show. So if you're in the area, it's a good investment. It's one of my favorite shows. Next we have is quick status for me on the CNCF talk vote. We now have 6 of the 7 votes needed to move to incubation within the CNCF. So if you come in here and you go and you can count all the votes that people are doing to +1, Cloud Custodian moving to the incubation phase of a CNCF project. We're basically waiting for one more binding vote. TLDR, the way it works is the CNCF talk committee has binding votes, and they need a majority. So 7 out of 11 of them need to vote to include us. And then they have a concept of what's called a non-binding vote, which is when people who don't really have a vote get to just say, hey, +1, I use this project, I like it. So if you have someone, or you yourself are using Custodian and you're comfortable going in there and giving a non-binding +1, that's how they kind of gauge how how the community receives a project. Even though you don't really have like a binding vote, it's a way to support the project. So it's looking so far, no one has -1 so far, so it's looking like we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's so far. Any questions on that one before I move on? All right, and the last one is we're going to Reinforce, which is AWS's show. I'll be on the West Coast at Scale, and Kapil and someone else, I forgot who's going with you, Kapil, will be at AWS Reinforce. That's in Boston next week. Is it just you?
We'll also be, we've got 2 other people joining. Sarah and Umair, and we'll be at Forward CloudSec as well.
Awesome. All right, and on that one, if you're in the area or you're going to Reinforce and you want to attend, we will be throwing a small reception. This is free, but please fill out your name so we know how many people are going, so we can plan for food and all those sorts of logistics. And I've got that link in the notes as well. With that kind of closes the quote-unquote official agenda we have. Next, we have incoming PRs and issues or things that might be burning. So I've got a few here that AJ has tagged, but he let me know he's running a little bit late, so he might show up later. But is there anything, opening it for the floor, anything anyone have that they want to check out?
I have few questions.
Sure.
So I'm trying to enforce RDS encryption. So like any instance that are launched in AWS environment automatically delete if they're not encrypted. Do you guys have policy that support that? And it's the organization wide one. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So RDS encryption is typically just an attribute on the RDS, and then you can put it into real-time CloudTrail mode on any create instance or create database cluster to have it do real-time enforcement as a Lambda. I think you're asking for in the actual attribute name. So you just do a value filter for RDS encrypted, and then you can do delete. The actual attribute name escapes me, but is it just the Camus key ID? Does anyone know off the top of their heads what it is?
We've got this in the docs, but
that's for
that's
EC2.
not.
Oh no, it's for RDS. Oh yeah, storage encrypted. That's it.
There it is. This right here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So would that work if the instances are not public? If they're private?
You can just remove the second line, and then it applies to all databases.
To all, right? Okay.
Okay. Are there cases where the policy, because I had it where the policy validated, but when the Lambda function is created when I run the policy, but it is not implying what it's supposed to do. So I was also tagging RDS instances with my policy. So the policy validated and it created Lambda function, but it did not actually tag it when I tested it out. Does that happen?
So it can happen for different reasons. I mean, it could be you don't have the right IAM permissions associated to the role. Like there's other things. Typically, you would go to the Lambda logs to understand where the failure is coming from. Typically, this type of discussions are better in the chat room because you can actually show the text of the policy and stuff as well. But if you're having an issue with the Lambda policy, like it's not behaving the way you expect it to behave, the first place to look is at the logs for the Lambda policy in CloudWatch logs.
All right, thank you.
Most frequently, the RDS instance takes some time to come up. That's something we run into, I guess.
Oh, you mean not being able to tag it immediately after creation?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So, like when it becomes available, that's when it should be able to do it. Is that what you're saying? Or even after it becomes available, it takes some time?
That I think we would have to test. I'm not sure exactly what error you're running into, but if you post it in the GitHub chat, I think we can potentially test it out from there.
Okay, all right. I did test it, so it even when it becomes available, it wasn't tagging it. But I will post the policy. I believe I got the policy from the docs too.
Do you kind of have access to the logs as well?
Yeah, I had access to the logs, and I know it wasn't a permission issue either. Because when you do the debug, it actually tells you, or when you do a dry run, it tells you what's the issue. So I know it wasn't a permission issue that it was giving either, but it was just not tagging it for whatever reason. But I will go back and look more into it.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely come chat on Gitter. I think that's probably the best forum, or the easiest forum to sort of debug that more interactively. On the call, it's sort of like missing context. What's the policy? What's the log, so to speak? It probably works a little bit better on the async, but I think we're happy to help out. But yeah, just join Gitter when you have access to the logs.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries. I put the link to the RDS section in the notes, and I also just posted it in chat if you get there. And feel free to ping me if getting that is a problem.
Okay. I will. Thanks.
No worries. Okay, looks like Darren has 4 things. And anything else on this one before we move on? All right, thank you. All right. We've got 4 today from Darren. FSX backup checks 7252.
I think this has some comments from Kapil, which Kalai has fixed based on the feedback. So I think it's just a matter of giving it another pass, Kapil, if you can.
Noted. I was just looking at it. Cool. I'll take a look at that.
All right, that's 1. SNNSQS has statement filter.
Yeah. This one is new. So the idea was that I believe for S3 bucket, we have a pretty good filter for checking to see if it has matching policy statements. And we want to extend it to other resources that has the same kind of access policy statements as well, namely SNS and SQS. So Steven has put in this PR. Yeah, needs somebody to take a look.
Cool. Yeah, I have noticed the activity on this one, and I did see Steven do a call out. I think in the last day or so, getting extra eyes from your AJ. Thank you for taking a look at it as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, and also AJ's just getting back from holiday, so he should be able to get back in the queue. And Sunny's currently on holiday until next week, so that's why
I was on holiday.
And Kapil was on holiday until yesterday, so yeah. AWS Cross AZ NAT GW filter. This one's been around a bit.
Yeah, I have been reviewing this and I give some comment, but I don't think anyone else let's look at it. So again, need somebody to take a look at it.
Okay.
This one is to the use case for this one is performance and cost optimization, so that we let a user know if they have set up routing table where the next hop to the NAT gateway is in a different subnet, which
Got you.
is not the best in terms of cost and performance.
And reliability, availability as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one's needed to review.
So this one is the old one with the cider.
I have a question. Actually, wait, on
Oops, sorry.
that gateway one.
Going back one. All right.
Yeah, shouldn't this really be on the subnet? Because the route table isn't associated. I'm trying to understand, should it be on the subnet or on the route table? Because the subnet is associated to an AZ. The route table is not per se.
Well, I think this is to let the people know when they set up the route table, they set it up, in a non-optimal way.
Yeah, I'm just wondering which resources should hang off of, and I could see use cases for both. Or I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that it particularly matters. Actually, is probably the right way to say it.
'Cause to me, it's the routing that is bad, right?
Yeah, it is the routing that's bad.
It's not bad. The routing is
But-
bad.
But the locality of the mismatches from the subnet to the gateway, but those are the two things that are AZ associated, whereas the route table itself is region based, but it's in the route table. I see what you're saying. So I don't know. I could go either way. Okay.
All right. And then the last one you brought up, AWS Security Groups.
Yeah, I believe the action item for this one was actually for you, George, to follow with CNCF.
Yes.
What
Yep.
to do with the
Yep.
CLA.
So I filed a ticket with their system, and then I filed it with the wrong system, and I filed it with the right system, and they just responded. It just accidentally sent it to my personal email. So I thought they had just abandoned it, and then they sent it back for me. It is a long, complicated thing, Kapil, that I wanted to talk with you when you got back on holiday.
This is a surface test request for talking to.
Yeah, about what to do about the in-flight PRs that were open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to discuss it here, or you want to do it offline?
I would prefer to do it offline because it is like a long, complicated thing, and I'm.
Fair enough.
You know,
lawyers.
Yeah. It's just like.
No worries.
Yeah, like I didn't even like know how to respond because it was like this long thing. But yeah, I would definitely like to get some guidance with you on that, on how to proceed. So, yeah, but they are aware of our in progress PR. So yeah, that was definitely still on me. Any other questions on that one? I know that's probably not the answer we wanted to hear, but unfortunately it was, I was like, they're not going to say, hey, everything is magical, just click this button. So once I get something actionable out of that, I'll report back. All right. These other ones were AJ had marked as wanting to discuss, but he just pinged me that he's not able to make it to the meeting. So I'll table those for next time. Any of these PRs or issues jumping out at anyone that they would like to see review or have discussion on? I'll give people a minute here to check it out, or if you have your own personal issue or PR that you want to bring up.
7310 as one that I like. The implementation looks good. I'm a little. I kind of want another pair of eyes on it. As far as what it means.
Okay.
So at its core, it's basically just handling on the cross account access check. It is adding some additional evaluation when we're granting services access to make sure that there's also a condition that only scopes it to, I think it's just to the account, or sorry, yeah, can handle source account condition on it. So this is useful, like if making sure for services that support that like you grant the service access to a resource, that it's only doing that on behalf of events originating from the same account type of thing, which is generally good. The question then is what happens, what would the behavior be for things that, are we going to switch any defaults, I guess is my only concern and consideration on it. So if anyone else has a moment and wants to give that a look over, I would appreciate another set of eyes.
All right. Anything else? AJ was just like, send me the list of issues that people want eyeballs on. So we've got four that I will PM to him this afternoon. Anything else? Any other agenda items?
The one thing I want to bring up to Kapil, remember how there was that one PR that I put in to fix the Lambda state, active state thing? We actually had a meeting with AWS the other day, I think 2 days ago, and there is one more place where we need to add in that check. I think right now we have it for create Lambda function, and we have the update Lambda code function.
They're adding it to tags as well.
No, the tag, I asked them, the tag one is fine. It's the update config one, the update Lambda config, like the configuration of the Lambda function. We only do it for the update of the Lambda code, but not the Lambda configuration. So I think we need to have one more place. I'll submit a PR for that soon.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I see it. We didn't do it previously because, well, actually, that's a good question. Do we need to do it?
I think it's more. I think it's more one of those like race conditions where, you know, if it happens fast enough, and then it doesn't really affect us. But there is always a slim chance of it happening where we're trying to do something when it's not ready yet.
And this is in regards to like config or something. Okay, yeah. If you want us to add it in, that's fine. I'm just wondering if, for the purposes of like, if we updated the function config, and is that still going to block, say, config from attaching to it? Typically in an update, it's not.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because
the target already exists per se. But I'm fine with us just being cautious here and adding in the additional check. That's fine. Sounds good. I don't know if it's worth asking about something I'm working on. Let's take a draft PR up for it. I was working on something for a new Lambda execution mode around database budgets, so that we can attach a budget to the account to effectively, when an account exceeds a budget, that a custodian Lambda policy will fire, and you can do whatever you want in terms of running notifications or whatnot to it. It will in the background as part of the policy deployment, create the SNS topic and the budget and Lambda. But may not be of interest here. It definitely came up at the FinOps conference as something people were interested in help with as far as managing budgets.
Oh yeah, one more thing I want to ask is, can I be the next person to do whenever the next release is? Or you need to sit with somebody to do it ahead of time, or just to go through it ahead of time. But yeah, I would like to perform.
If you want to, I think it would probably be pair to watch on a release. We generally want to do releases with multiple people, but so I think it would be tag along for one and to see what the process is. We have it. I think we've got like 1 or 2 videos of it recorded already, but yeah.
Yeah, what I was gonna do is when Sunny comes back from holidays, I was thinking about just scheduling like a separate meeting that is do a release, and then whoever wants to hop in, we could figure that out. Did you get the link to I published the steps that Sunny was following last time? I don't know if you got those.
Yeah, I tried.
Okay, all right.
I already ran into a problem. That's why I kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did you need to have the right permissions or something?
No,
okay.
Not the problem with getting to the doc, more like following the instructions.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, as soon as Sunny gets back, then we can sort that out then, and then we'll just. Are you okay with us just scheduling something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I can handle that. Anything else? All right. And with that, thanks everyone for attending. You can have 30 minutes back, and we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. And if you're going to reinforce and scale, hope to see you then. Cheers, everyone.